Hello, and welcome to our fourth weekly recap.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks to those of you, we can now actually show you some results of the CO2 footprint calculations.
Yes, here's a comparison between two very different pie charts. The first one is the one with the lowest CO2 footprint so far, about 3 metric tons of CO2, which is below the world average of about 4 metric tons. This one was posted by Ananda Nindi from India. You can see the secondary category is dominant, which includes emissions from food, fashion, recreation, and household utilities.
Contrary to this, the one posted by Gerald Johnson from the US. This is the highest CO2 footprint we have seen so far in the assignment, with more than 15 metric tons. His footprint is dominated by car use.
Interesting. In these two cases, we see the possible difference between countries with different economic development and lifestyles.
Good point, Mark. The next example is also a really interesting one. Emilia said that she travels a lot for work and that she mostly lives in hotels. Therefore, 3/4 of 7 metric tons of her emissions are due to flying, which is a very different to the pie chart of Rada, who lives in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. She's emitting approximately 7 metric tons from secondary sources only. So Mark, how do we interpret these results?
Well, it is clear that our lifestyle choices really have an impact on our CO2 emissions. And this is not only about the car we drive and how often we take a transatlantic flight, but also what we eat and where our food is coming from.
Indeed. Madalina from Romania puts it very nicely. She says, skip the bacon, we're going vegan. Mother Earth, there is no need to thank me.
You're right, Theo. I noticed quite a number of posts in which people expressed their surprise about their CO2 footprint. Although, of course, you must note that especially the calculations of the secondary category only are a rough estimation.
Mark, now that you mentioned the forum and the posts, I also wanted to say that I think there are many interesting discussions going on related to topics of previous or even future weeks. For example, this very interesting question from Jope de Leeuw, who is questioning the effects of internet, automation, and digitization on cities, which is actually a topic that will be covered in week 6.
Yeah, or the post by Sila Tito with the title Almost Hit. He describes how he survives cycling in a city in Brazil. He suggests that people should be more at the center of city planning.
Very interesting, and thank you all for that. I think it is important to also follow the old discussions. They're really rich and insightful. In fact, I personally learned a lot about the issues that you face in your city every day.
I agree, Theo. Actually, I think it is the discussions where you really learn things. The videos are really there to start up and stimulate these discussions.
This brings us to the end of this recap. So, what's up for next week, Mark?
Well, next week we look at the resource shortage challenge. We will specifically look at the nexus between nutrients, water, and carbon for food production. It will be discussed how you can recover valuable resources from household waste and wastewater. And there will be quite some focus on urban agriculture.
Really interesting topics. And we are all looking forward to your contributions.
So that's all, folks.
See you next week.